Hey there, thanks so much for joining us tonight. So happy to see you all here. It is May 31st of 2020, and this is our live Master Number 11 membership event. And so tonight I'm super excited to be inviting back Angie Latham. Hey, Angie.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Angie's coming to us live from the UK. So
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock here.
it is, but you said you wanted to do this at nighttime because you're like a part-time bat.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
good. Yeah, so Angie is a sound healer, and she's also a quantum healing hypnotherapist. So she's going to be expressing to us tonight exactly why sound healing is so important, not just overall, but specifically, obviously, for the Master Number 11s, because the 11s, of course, are a sensitive kind of creature, right? So we know that the sound healing can definitely help. Angie is also an artist. She's a photographer. She is an 11, so she gets you guys. She's very much an empath. We've known each other for a little while now and shared many things back and forth, and she's definitely empathic. But after I'm reading right from her biography here. After becoming ill and having to leave her full-time job with ME, chronic fatigue, and burnout in 2015, she was introduced to gong baths and the positive effect of the health, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Led her on a train as a sound therapist to help herself and also to help others. So discovering sound and vibration was the missing jigsaw piece in understanding herself as a soul, but also how much wider, I want to say wilder, wilder and wider the universe really is. So
Yeah, definitely wilder.
it's definitely, isn't it? So we're going to be talking about sound healing tonight. We're going to be talking about the therapy behind it, understanding its frequency and the vibrations, and how the Master Number 11s can feel more grounded, safer in the physical body, and also how to heart center, which gives us the direct access to the wisdom to our higher self. It's a really interesting connection. The meditation that Angie has so kindly prepared for us tonight is related to the frequencies necessary to open the heart center. So I'm going to let Angie explain that more so, because this is not my area of expertise whatsoever. That's why I bring people like her in. So I'm delighted she said yes. So Angie, why do you think that it took you into your mid-40s before you actually could, discover an interest in becoming a sound healer?
Yeah, frustrating that, isn't it, as an 11, because you're kind of born feeling like you've got this big mission to do, and yet for most of our lives, I think 11s, we're kind of like, but what is it? I don't know what it is. What is it? Where am I supposed to be going? Somebody tell me.
Yeah.
And I think there's two things really to that, and the first one, the most important one, is that we're here as teachers, and we teach best from experience, and people relate better to teachers that are teaching from experience rather than something they've just read or been taught, So I think you have to go through a certain amount of life experience to be able to get a handle on everything, and then actually be able to help other people. Because if you were just talking about theory, then people would know on an energetic level. People would know that they haven't. That's all very well in theory, but they haven't really gone through that. So how can they understand how I feel? How can they
Exactly.
understand how to get through it? So I think that's the first thing. The second thing I think is that there is a divine timing to everything. So
Mm.
I think whatever we're here to do, we will do it. But and when it's the divine timing for us to know about it and to be put on that path, then it'll just happen. It's kind of like it's kind of like with computers with these hidden files,
Mhm.
and suddenly the time is right and an alarm goes off and the file opens and you think, oh my god, where did that come from? I know something, and I haven't read that, I haven't been taught it, I just know something deep in my soul. And that's definitely kind of what happened to me in 2017. I'd had a dark night of the soul in 2015-16, and then in 2017 I was coming out the other side of that, um, being put very much more on my spiritual path, rather than something I was doing as a hobby. and just sound just came into my life. It just, all of a sudden it was like, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, and there didn't seem to be any doubt about it. So there was no kind of like, oh, I quite like the idea of that, maybe I'll have a go, which is all what I'd done all of my life. I tried this and I tried that, and you know, like a little bee sort of like pollinating each plant, and like, nah, I don't want that flower, that's not quite right, and go to another, oh no, that's not quite right too. And then all of a sudden, when I was ready, when I was in the right place, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, it was kind of like, now that file's open, it's like, sound, that's where I'm supposed to be going.
And so how did you discover the healing power behind sound?
It was from going to gong baths myself in 2015, as you said, when I was diagnosed with ME and chronic fatigue. There's no cure in conventional medicine for ME and chronic fatigue, so I was just kind of left out on a limb, really, to just you know, try and cure myself. And I found that going to gong baths really, really helped. First of all, with the overthinking. So you know, I was very stressed. I was a typical overthinking, analytical, anxiety-ridden 11. No.
You got a t-shirt.
Far too much going on in their head. And I found that going to gong baths, as soon as the gong started, it shut that monkey mind up. It shut the analytical, logical, constant blah, 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 blah chatter off. Because that side of your mind doesn't know how to process the sound, because there's no melody, there's no words. Your analytical mind, the left side of your mind, your ego mind, if you like, doesn't really know what to do about it. So it just kind of like numbs it and kind of hypnotizes it almost.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
So then your creative side starts to come out. The right side of your brain is allowed to kind of like just blossom. That's your imagination, your creativity, but that is really what heart centering is. When you're heart centered, you're in line with that more creative side of your brain, which then leads through to connection with source and the wider universe, and all of the knowledge that you have as a soul, all of the lives, all of the experiences, all of your Akashic records, your connection with your guides, all of that is accessed through the heart center and through that sort of creative side of your mind.
You know, it's funny, as I'm sitting here sort of thinking about this and listening to you talk, it kind of makes sense why back in the 60s everybody was into LSD and you know, all the mind-altering drugs, because it's often very difficult to get from the left side to the right side of the brain.
Yes, you need to surrender. You need to surrender your limited beliefs, your programming, religious, society, you know, all of the experiences that we've taken on from other people. You know, that's not right, or that's not possible, or you're not good enough, you're not psychic enough, you're not creative enough, whatever, you know, whatever those beliefs are, that's all run in the lower ego mind, which is very much the left hand side of the brain, really. That part of our mind only knows what it can see, feel and touch, and it only knows what we've experienced up to this point, which is why when we're too much in that side of the brain we get anxious, because when we look ahead there's just this huge void that we just think, oh my, we just make up the worst possible scenario of what's going to happen next week, you know. Because that side of our ego mind, it doesn't have solutions. It only really likes problems. So when we get heart centered in doing whatever practice that is, LSD, I'm not recommending it. You can just listen to a gong. You know, there's no countdown, and it's totally legal.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that puts you back into the heart center, and then that opens up to solutions that you may not have ever even thought of. You'll get inspiration. Your guides can communicate to you. So that's why when people are meditating, quite often the answers to their problem or a solution will just pop up out of nowhere, and it's like, oh my God,
Mhm.
where did that come from? I never even thought of doing
Mhm.
that. And
Mhm.
yet that is the solution to the problem, which the ego mind couldn't work out because it's far too critical and analytical, and oh well, that won't happen, that's not possible.
Right.
uh, mm,
So then, what we're going to be talking about today relates to the 11s being grounded and heart-centered.
mm.
And yet that can be a little scary for them too, right?
Definitely. Being too much in your head, but also running all those emotions as well. Um, the way I see things is that, and people might disagree, and take what resonates with you and leave the rest, and
Right.
that's right with any teacher, I think. Um, is that I see emotions slightly different from feelings. So I see emotions as energy in motion, and emotions are triggered by the mind. They're triggered by the lower ego mind, with all the limited belief patterns and all the programming that we've picked up of
Mhm.
what's right, wrong, good, bad. Um, so, oh, I've gone off track.
So,
So feelings are something different. Feelings such as unconditional love come from the heart center. Um, that you need to ground. We need to be grounded in our bodies to be able to process all of these emotions and all of this energy that's coming down, especially as 11s. We're like the lightning rods. We've got all this, amazing energy coming in, high frequency coming in. If we're not grounding it in, we're not completing the circuit. So it's getting stuck in our energy fields, and usually in the head, where that's where you can get confusion, frustration, irritability. We need to move it through, whether that's exercise or meditation or whatever it is, for whatever works for you, really. Sound is a really, really good way to do it.
So the whole idea, I know 11s might feel a little bit nervous about going in and opening the heart center, because opening the heart center to them might mean, oh my God, I've got to be even more emotional. I've got to be even more sensitive.
Yeah. So the difference between being heart centered is that it's actually a neutral space. So it's not emotionally triggering. So there's a difference between emotions and being heart centered.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the emotions kind of are triggered from the mind, the small ego mind, our limited beliefs, our fear patterns. When you're heart centered, it's like going into a neutral space where you can observe things, but you're not reacting and you're not judging. So you're not judging that something is good, bad, right, or wrong. You're just observing it as a frequency, almost a kind of a choice of frequency, and whether you want to experience more of that. No, I don't. I want to focus on this kind of frequency instead and move towards that. So yeah, it's quite difficult to explain, I think, especially kind of like on a on a session like this, because it's such a huge subject, and goes into psychology and all that kind of thing.
I was thinking, I'm reading a book by Gabby Bernstein, and it's called Super Attractor. And in the end of the book, we're getting close to the end of the book, she starts talking about the difference between the ego and connecting to spirit and that sort of thing. And it was like I had, I've obviously, I know the difference, but I felt the difference, which was really, and that was a big defining moment for me when I just read something in her book, and I'm like, oh my God. I could feel like I was doing my course creation course actually, and I was stressing out about something in the course. I couldn't get it right, and I couldn't get it right, and I couldn't get it right, and I was getting just really getting upset about it. And then I was reading this chapter in the book, and it was talking about, the ego is always the one that's got the control, and it's always holding on. So it's like, it made me feel like I was holding on to a toy really hard, and there's no way I was going to let it go, and that's my whole body is tension, I'm hanging on. And eventually spirit just lets go and goes, fine, whatever, have your stupid toy. And in that moment, it's like I'm going, oh, that's what it feels like to let go and let God.
I love that saying, when you stop struggling, you float.
You do.
You do. And I think with your mind, when you're using too much of your mind without going through the heart center first, what you're doing is you're trying to wade upstream against the current.
Yeah.
And you want to be in control, and it's like you're not picking up the subtle messages from your higher self that's saying, this is the wrong way, this is the wrong way, just go to the left a bit. You're like, no, that's where I want to go, and I'm just and because the ego mind doesn't see any other possibility, so it's fixed on going the way that it thinks that it should go, rather than just like letting go and trusting the heart. I go, oh,
you should be a 7 life path Aries. Everything's up here.
Yeah. But that's the other thing, isn't it? I think with 11s as well, we've got to be really careful of being in victim consciousness, of being in, oh, poor me, I'm an 11, I feel so much, wah, wah, wah. And that's one of the things I love about you, Anne, is that you don't let us get into that. You allow us to kind of ask for support, but you don't you don't tolerate kind of, because really, at a soul level, we chose to be here, and we choose what we go through. And I know that's really triggering for people, but it's true. And if we don't like the experience that we're having, or the frequency that we're experiencing, then it is only up to us to try to change that frequency, to change direction.
We always have that choice.
But it has to begin in the energetic field first. So it has to begin vibrationally first. And when we listen to people like Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, that's basically what they're teaching, is that the ego mind only understands what it can see now in this moment, which is only that's the result of everything you've thought and felt up to this moment. So if you want to change the physical around you, whether it's your own body, your health, or whether it's sort of where you live, or the job that you've got, or the relationship you've got, first of all, you've got to find that you've got to change your frequency, you've got to change your vibration. And this is where sound is really, really important, because it can raise your frequency to a higher level. If you think of kind of like, we've got love on one hand, we've got fear on the other hand, we've got all these millions of kind of like vibrations, bits of grey in between, and each one of those has a frequency. So the more you raise your frequency, the more you go towards love, the more clearer you get, the more heart-centered you get. The more you go towards fear and the lower sort of the lower vibrations of anger, frustration, judgment, that will take you lower and lower and lower, denser, denser, denser. So sound can really raise your vibration without the mind getting involved. You don't have to think about anything. You just lie there and let the sounds do the job for you. All you have to do is open up, and that's all. So to not have the resistance, to let go, really. And sometimes in my presentations, I say to people, just imagine that instead of rowing, you're just throwing the oars away and just let the stream take you down. Because that stops people's resistance, and they start to allow and open up. And then you just let the sounds do the rest, really.
Well, I've been riding horses for years, and this gal's been helping me out recently, and she rides very energetically. So she's really good, she speaks my language, right? So she's really energetically inclined to think like I do. But anyway, she was helping me with my horse the other day about throwing the reins away. Just ride, just get rid of the reins and ride. Like, just intuitively ride. And I'm like, no reins? And she's like, no reins. And I couldn't believe how much we accomplished with no control, And that's what that's what Gabby Bernstein talks about in her book. The less you do, the more you accomplish. Right? Just let go and more comes.
Yeah.
That's
So when you let go of the resistance, then you get more in line with the subtle frequencies, so that you can read subtle frequency of energy. So I mean,
hmm,
what you're really doing on that horse is you're starting to read that you're getting more in tune with the horse and how
yeah.
it's moving and where its energy is. So
And I've
uh,
had her 3 years, and I've never had this experience before. So it's really so interesting. The energy's coming through me now, and I actually, the direction that she goes comes from what I'm thinking. So it's pretty magical. So the next thing we wanted to cover was how do 11s, especially the really empathic ones, stop themselves from feeling overwhelmed from other people's emotions and even the collective emotions. So for example, the planetary emotion, the vibration that we're dealing with right now with the P word,
yeah,
what's up
it's
with that?
it's really difficult. I've
It is.
found it really challenging with the collective stuff, and I'm not used to being that affected by the collective. But I mean, it's really difficult at the moment, and I've been liking it to kind of surfing the wave. So I'm surfing the wave, and I'm thinking, I'm okay, I've got this, I know how to co-create, I know how to manifest, da, 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 da,
Mhm.
da. And all of a sudden this big wave will come from behind, and I'm like, and it's a complete wipeout, and you're under the water, and it's like, oh my god, how am I going to get up to the surface? But yeah, so it is difficult. It's much more difficult at the moment than any other time that I've been alive. But really, I think the first thing is, again, to understand that you are a sovereign being. We are sovereign beings.
Mhm.
Our souls are more powerful than we can possibly imagine. I sound like Obi-Wan Kenobi there, but it's true. Star Wars. Star Wars is a great channeled film about universal laws. But anyway, um, yeah, so take control really, and know that you can take control, that you're not a victim. So even though you start to feel it, you can say, okay, I'm not feeling good, I need to heart center, I need to ground, I need to go outside, get my feet on the floor, hug a tree, do some mindfulness, and basically calm down, and
Yeah.
get into the neutral space again. And and obviously kind of psychic self-protection is really important. So um, I'm not a particular fan of seeing yourself in a kind of solid bubble, because I think we need to be careful about separating ourselves from what we perceive that we don't want, because source energy is dark and light. It's it's two sides of the same coin. So by saying I don't want that over there, and I'm going to protect myself from it as shield,
Agreed.
is really your kind of what you resist is persisting.
Mhm.
So again, if you're in that neutral space, then you're seeing it in a non-judgmental way and saying, well, I'm not, I recognize that that's a valid choice of experience over there, but I don't, I wish to experience something different, and allow that light, your own heart light, to surround you, and call on your
Mhm.
guides as well, your angels, your guides. That's what they're there for. They're our own personal cheerleading team,
Ah,
but they've got to wait for us to ask. So as when we ask, they'll help, but we have free will as humans. If we don't ask, we don't get, really, as far as that kind of help is concerned. um,
I had
but
a
yeah.
I had a friend who had a friend that she introduced me to years ago, and she was really big into the eggs of protection. The gold is for this, and the purple is for that, and you got to protect yourself from the dark forces of this and that. And to me, like, the whole thing felt wrong to me, because I thought, if I'm putting out a message there that I'm that afraid, that I need that much protection, I think that draws the lower vibrations to me closer,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just kind of haul in Archangel Michael and say, do your thing, buddy. Like,
So you can hold your own energy. We're all powerful enough to do it. Hold your own light. You don't need to protect yourself from the badness out there, because
no,
that's judgment. And
yes,
like I said, what you resist persists. With
yeah,
the law of attraction, whatever, if you're fearful and putting that vibration out, then you're attracting that back to you.
exactly.
So what I would say with 11s is the most important thing, especially throughout this virus and the fear that the collective is going through, is to hold your light. Do whatever that you need to do. You know, it's different for everybody, but do whatever makes you feel good.
Yes.
Whatever brings you joy. And I know that there's a lot of conflicting kind of conspiracy theories out there, and you know, and I've been down the rabbit hole a bit with that as well when it first sort of started coming out. But if you're focusing too much on that, then you're aligning yourself with that vibration, the lower vibrations of fear, anger, you know, so you're not actually helping raise the vibration of the planet. You're contributing to that fear almost. So it's really important to keep your vibe up, and that's not the same as kind of spiritual bypassing. It's kind of like positive thinking and denying those lower emotions. It's not about that. It's about just paying attention to how you're feeling, where you're vibrating, and if it's not in a good space, if you're not feeling good, then take yourself away and do whatever you need to get yourself feeling good again. And not only will that help yourself, but it will help everybody around you, because it ripples out and it affects everybody else's vibrations. So
the other thing too to consider is that we are all under the umbrella of 2020.
Yeah.
2020 is A4 vibration, right? So regardless of where you are in your personal cycle, whether you're in a 3 or a 2 or a 5 or whatever, the 4 is having a huge influence over you. And what it's doing is it's asking you to really examine your foundation, examine the way that you're living your life, examine the way you think, examine the situations you're in, examine your foundation, your financial status. It's about looking at where you live. Is this where you want to live? It's looking at your education. Do you want to advance it? Are you going in the right direction? It's reviewing everything. This year is such a magnetically charged energy for manifestation. So we all have to be extremely careful where we are placing our energy, attention, and focus. So I'm suggesting to everybody, get an elastic band, put it around your wrist, and as soon as you think a negative thought or something, snap that button, snap that, you know, and you only do it a few times before you stop doing that, right? But it's a really good way.
Yeah, if you get used to regularly checking how you're feeling, where you're vibrating, then you can stop that when before the momentum gets too big. You know, if you're kind of distracting yourself on Facebook or work or whatever, and you let that momentum start to really, you know, pick up pace, it's much more difficult to get yourself back out of the slump once that momentum is like firing down the hill into fear and you know, anger, frustration. But am I right in saying, though, I mean, we're in a 4 year, but it's 2 twos, isn't it? So it is about extra sensitivity, isn't it?
Extra sensitivity, double the need for cooperation, for patience, collaboration. This is not about just you. It's about looking at the relationships in your life really closely as well, and seeing which ones are working for you and which ones aren't.
And the zeros as well, they're kind of wild cards, isn't it? So the way I'm seeing it is that you can use the zeros to use this as positive, or you can use it as negative, and that's a very 4 energy, isn't it? Are you going to focus on what you have got, or focus on what you haven't got, and have a pity party, as you call it? I love that pity party.
Yeah. The zeros amplify whatever's next to them, right? So in this case, we've got zeros that are in there, and they're amplifying the 2s on either side. So it just brings a larger, that's a good observation on your part, Angie, the double 2 vibration in the 4 universal year is double intensity around sensitivity. And I mean, anybody who's in my Master Number 11 group will attest to the fact that we've had some sensitive issues going on in there in the last couple of months. It's like, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you how many times I want to pass that torch. But no, we stick it out. But I have noticed, I mean, people generally, my readings and the people who are booking and stuff, it's intense. People are really.
I think it's really important for people to be gentle with themselves, you know,
and each other.
not beat ourselves up, not judge ourselves. We are going to go through this real roller coaster of emotions this year, and it's almost like it's pushing everything into polarity, so that we can actually see that polarity does not work. can't be red or blue or black or white. It doesn't work. You know, we've got to find that neutral space,
Well,
and and encompass everything. You know, we've got to be the yin and the yang together.
it's a
And
really interesting energy, Angie, because you're right. There is polarity there, but it's like a contradiction. You've got the 4 says, I got to build my foundation. Got to get on that. I got to get organized. It's like an action number, right? And I have to kind of put one brick after the other and build something strong. But the double 2s say, whoa, slow down, stop, right? Be patient, hit your timeout button, go to your corner, get in your timeout chair, and it's time for you to rest and restore.
yeah.
And many of you have heard me talk about my experience in Jamaica in February when I went before the pandemic was announced. We went through the Toronto airport and all kinds of people wearing masks and whatnot. So we knew COVID was around, but it wasn't pandemic proportions. So we were concerned, but not freaked out, right? And it took us 3 days to get to Jamaica. But when we were there, when we finally got there, I remember sitting there. I'm sure I've told you this. I was sitting there looking out to the sea, and I felt the planet stopping. It was the weirdest thing. And it was just so strange. I could feel the planet starting to slow down. And then eventually it stopped and it started to kind of revolve backwards. And it was just, it was me tuning into the planetary vibration, which I didn't really know I knew how to do. I can interpret it, but I didn't know I could actually tap in and feel it. And man, did I ever feel it. It's crazy. So
I think for 11s, if they haven't got a practice, as in a practice to ground and heart center, meditate, whatever it is for them to make them to allow that balance, then this is a really, really steep ride.
Yes, but it's a good ride.
It's a good ride. Again,
so much good is coming from this. It's crazy.
For me, what it's really pushing us to do is to take complete control and complete responsibility of our own vibration, our own energy. And if we do that one by one, don't worry about what the rest of the world's doing, because if you do it, then you affect the people next to you, and then it's like we're the way showers to show other people how to move up in consciousness, how to find a better way of relating and cooperating and co-creating and manifesting. And it's interesting what you said about manifestation, because I've found that sort of with the heightened frequencies around the planet at the moment, manifestation is very, very quick.
Very quick.
Whichever way you're vibrating. So if, whenever I've got, I've really gone into trust and thought, okay, I've got no money, but I'm going to trust that money comes in. Money has just come in within hours. Whereas in the old days, that would have taken days or weeks or months or even years to manifest, and you'd have had to have kept that sort of that vibration up long enough for that manifestation to come back to you. But at the moment, everything is working so fast that whether you're down in a slump or whether your vibration is high, you're getting that reflection back much quicker, which is a good thing actually, because if you're down and you're manifesting kind of so I've got no money. If I started worrying about that, then I'd get less and less money, another unexpected bill, the wheel would fall off the car or something like that. So it's a really good way of sort of saying, oh, okay, that's happened, so I must be kind of vibrating at a lower rate. I need to raise my frequency. So again, see it as a good thing. It's like I know I can really manifest quickly, so I'm going to be super conscious of what I'm feeling and where I'm vibrating. Yeah,
we have to be very, very, very careful where we place our focus right now. Absolutely we do, because the ability to manifest is we are all magnetized right now. I was saying that earlier in an email this week. We are absolutely magnetized this week. So it might feel like you're stuck. It might feel like you're not moving anywhere. It might feel like you got lead boots on, but seriously, this is such a productive time. And when was the last time the universe gave this to you, where you actually had to stop and pause, right? So, and yeah. Anyway, I know there's all kinds of other drama that goes along with this, but I'm choosing to focus on what the good is that's coming from it, because I hope to manifest a whole lot more of that.
So I know this is kind of, we're not really talking that much about sound, but we are really, because energy is frequency and vibration. So
Yes.
it, and so that's why it was the missing piece to me in my spiritual kind of understanding of how the universe worked. Um,
So
so
let
at its highest level, energy frequency is light. So at the angelic realms, at the highest level, source level, it's just light. And as it
right.
comes down through the dimensions and gets denser and denser, it turns into sound, and then eventually into matter, physical matter. So you've got light, then into sound, then into physical matter. So vibration and frequency is everything. It's the building blocks of the universe. So working with sound is incredibly powerful, because you're raising it out of that physical dimension and into the higher dimensions, if that makes sense.
I was just, as you were talking about that, I was thinking about like laser surgery, for example.
Mm.
Laser is probably just a step away from sound, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, ultrasound.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
thinking like I had my eyes lasered there a few years ago. It's a very high intense light. It's a laser light that does the, the surgery itself. And I never really associated that with sound. But light, as you say, turns.
we use lasers, don't we, to break up kidney stones? I mean, that's just
Yeah.
high vibrational sound, and
Right.
yeah, it is the. I mean, I think it was Edgar Casey said that the future of medicine is sound and vibration, and it definitely is. And as science gets more sophisticated, the
Mhm.
measure, how we measure things gets more sophisticated,
Yeah.
it will it will get more attention, it will get more proof.
Right.
Always makes me laugh that nothing exists unless science can measure it,
Yeah. There's seeing is believing, and we're believing is seeing.
Yeah.
So
So
how can we?
yeah.
So how can the 11s, like what kind of tools can they use to create sound that might not break their bank accounts? Is there anything? So I know you should see the collection she's got. Holy, right? There's a mortgage living in her living room.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sound baths and gong baths they're getting so popular now, and they're getting popular because it works.
Yes.
Nothing sustains because it doesn't work. So, so I think most people could probably find, a sound bath or a gong bath near to them that they could go to. Listening to sound is really wonderful. It's great, but it's also a bit like watching the TV. You can watch a TV program on, I don't know, Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and but it would never be the same as actually being there with the sound, the smells and the sound and the
Sure.
light on your skin, as so listening to recordings is great, but it's a bit two-dimensional.
So how
So
would like somebody know? Like I know when I bought my singing bowl, I had to play with several of them in a store before I found one that just resonated with me and it felt good, and it just felt wonderful, right? But to buy one online, like on Amazon or someplace like that, I would think that would be difficult if you didn't know what you're buying.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I would recommend actually playing them. Yeah, but there are kind of there are notes that particularly resonate to each chakra. So the low C is the root chakra, and then it goes
Mm-hmm.
up to the D, which is the sacral, or the E to the solar plexus. The F is the heart. So anything that's tuned to F should resonate with the heart center. And then it kind of goes up like that. So that could give you a clue if you found it, if you thought I want to be more heart centered, I want something that resonates with my heart. So if you go online and find a singing bowl that says that it's an F, in
Mm-hmm.
the second octave
And
of the
so
heart.
that's how they're sold, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's good
So
information.
but really, it doesn't matter what note you use, because it's the intent behind it. So intent plus sound equals
Mm-hmm.
healing. But the most healing thing that everybody's got, and it's free, is your voice. So you can use your voice for healing. For grounding, you can use a low sound, and just tone. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about singing; it's just about making sound. So, in the PDF handout that we've got,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've got all the chakras there with the notes, and you know what they relate to and everything, and also the sound. So for instance, the grounding sound is as in earth, and so you could just sit there cross-legged and intend to be grounded and just sound that tone, and you can really have that intent of sending that vibration down, to that lower chakra and then down into the earth and connecting with Mother Earth. And it doesn't sound pretty. It's not supposed to. It's just using your own vibration in your voice.
Yeah. My husband and I do this quite often. If we're having difficulty sleeping, the two of us will tone.
Yeah.
It might sound ridiculous, but we do. We just hit a note and we just tone until we're out of breath, and we start again. And it's amazing how well it relaxes you. It's crazy.
And singing, toning is great for releasing stuck energy. It's great for releasing, especially for 11s. Just singing in the shower is one of the best things you can do, because the water as well helps you release. It helps you cleanse, not just physically, but energetically as well. And I often just tone in the. I'm not singing a song. I'm just toning. So I'm just like. But so that's if you really haven't got any money at all, then use your voice, and you can go on YouTube channels and put voice toning or chakra toning. You'll find something that will take you through it. Tuning forks, you can use a tuning fork.
Right.
Don't know whether you'll hear it on there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a low C. So you can just like sweep your aura and your energetic field with that.
Okay.
So again, you could choose a note that you resonate with. So if you wanted to use an F for the heart.
And you can buy like tuning forks in sets, I think, can't you, with all the various chakra tones?
Yeah, and but if you just want to buy one, then buy a 5 to 8 hertz.
5 to 8, okay.
5 to 8 is known as the miracle tone, and it and the DNA repair, and so it's deeply healing. But I've also been channeled by my guides that the 5 to 8 is actually the frequency is that of unconditional love in the heart center. So I don't know whether you'll hear it, but hear that?
Yeah.
Because I'm so sensitive to sound now, I can feel that straight.
I can too. I can too. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Again, that frequency bypasses the ego mind. So because unconditional love and being heart-centered is a feeling, it's not a thought. You can't get through it through just the mind.
Right.
It needs to be a feeling. So you need to kind of like open up, really.
All right. So we want a couple more questions before we open it up for our meditation. Do you work with any specific guides or higher consciousness through your sound work? Is there anybody
I do. And again, they came to me because of because of the sound. So I work with a collective of the Seraphim, which is there's kind of like the archangels, and then there's the seraphim above the archangels almost. But they are in the Bible, they're known as the choir of God. They're the closest to God's throne, and they sing holy, holy, holy. But what it really means is that they work with tone and sound on that highest vibrational level. So because I am an analytical person and I do doubt, what spirit does to me is it gives me an experience, or it gives me a name, and then I have to go and like find out what that's all about. So I had this name coming to me, seraphim, and I didn't know what seraphim was. I wasn't even an angel person. I found like angel people fluffy and rainbowy, and it wasn't really me kind of thing. So this wasn't something that I just thought, oh, I'm going to work with angels. It wasn't an ego thing like that. It was like the angels decided to work with me, and I was a bit resistant to it.
We got a tough one over here, boys. Ah,
I actually went to a sound meditation, and during this meditation, I had this amazing experience where I had 8 of these seraphim angels. Well, I didn't know there were seraphim angels at the time, but 8 light bodies around me, and they all came and they put their hand on my heart center. So they were all around me in a circle, and each one was, and it was the most amazing experience. I'm
wow.
just it's bringing a tear to my eyes now, really.
Yeah.
Um, and it was so powerful, and I kept having that name Seraphim that I had to go and Google Seraphim, and yeah. So anyway, so they've been working with me since I discovered sound, and then also I work with some galactics, the Pleiadian galactics.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they came to me first. They gave me the color, they gave me their names, but I didn't realize that the Pleiadians work with tone and sound. So again, it's obvious why I connect with them.
Okay.
So yeah, and if you look back in the it's many people believe that the Native Americans, when they talk about the star people, they talk about the Pleiadians. That's what the Pleiadians and the Lyrans were really significant in seeding life on Earth, back when. So yeah.
So since it's so cool, because I have all kinds of angels and guides that come in for me too, and like trying to sort them all out at times is like, what? But since you qualified as a sound healer, you've since gone on a train to explore past life regression and quantum hypnotherapy. So what part does sound healing play in all of that? Like, how do they work together, or do they work together?
They do work together because just taking past life regression for an example. So all right, now I'll take myself for example. So in this life, I've, like a lot of people, and probably a lot of 11s, are still working through old karma of persecution, judgment.
Right.
I've recalled those past lives where I've been strung up or burnt at the stake or whatever for
Right.
speaking my truth.
Yeah.
And so that actually has a certain feeling to it. That is a certain vibration. It's a certain frequency, judgment, execution. So what's really happening when you're going back into a past life is if I'm experiencing persecution in this life, so just recently I felt it because we rent and the landlord has won't let me work from home. So I felt really disempowered, persecuted, kind of like, I haven't got control over my own life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a certain frequency. That emotion is a certain frequency. And if you looked at it as a tuning fork, when I've struck that vibrational emotion in me of persecution. So when that's struck, it vibrates through every other time in your past lives where you've been dealing with that same frequency. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and that explains why certain music, even if it's just music, not even necessarily lyrics, will bring me to tears.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So frequency will trigger an emotion, so it'll strike that emotional chord,
Yes.
and then it'll vibrate anywhere in your field.
Mm-hmm.
So that persecution from my landlord, where is stopping me from doing what I'm here to do.
Yes.
Really. That is striking a past life where I've been imprisoned, or a past life where I've been burnt at the stake, or it's the same
Or
frequency.
stifled.
We're holographic. We live in a
Yes.
holographic universe, and time doesn't exist, so it's not a linear progression. Anything and everything is going on at the same time. That's a different conversation. But that's why if you heal something in this life, so if I work on that persecution and that judgment thing in this life, and I manage to heal it and I neutralize it, it will stop it vibrating anywhere else in those lives, which is how you can heal ancestral trauma and ancestral lines, because basically what you're doing is, if you work out how to heal it now in this life, I can put that into the universal field of my ancestry, and they can access it if they wish to, because everything's going on concurrently.
And so that when they choose to reincarnate at some point, they're bringing back with them healthier strands of DNA.
It's almost like the file is there if they want to open it.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I found out that to heal the feeling of persecution and judgment is to be heart-centered and to know that I'm a soul that is eternal and divine and that there is no death, you know. So if you put me to death, it doesn't matter because I will go on and it's just an experience that
Right.
I've, you know, that I'm having. It's not the end. It's not, you know. So that is something that I've really integrated in this life. So that is healing all the other times where I've been persecuted, but I haven't actually healed that in the other lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it stops it vibrating in all of those other
Mm-hmm.
fields.
Actually, I had an experience with an ancestral issue just recently, within the last week or so. I was going through something with my son and feeling just horrible. And then I realized that what I was feeling was something that my father had gone through as a child.
Mm.
And I hadn't gone through it in this lifetime, but I was feeling the pain. And I'm like,
Mm.
wow, you know, that's just, it's interesting we're talking about it because I physically felt it, you know, and I
So
knew that it wasn't my stuff.
so it's not the experience, it's the frequency
Yes.
that you're feeling. So
Right.
yeah, so it's when we deal with the frequency, we let go of the judgment of, you know, oh, because you could get into I used to be in a bit of victim consciousness about being burnt at the stake as a witch,
Yeah.
you know, bad Christians or whatever. but then I had another like a past life recall where I was a Christian being put to death by a Catholic. You know, so it's not who's right and who's wrong. It's the experience, it's the frequency that I needed to recognize and to heal. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Catholic or a Christian or a you know, a Buddhist or a witch
Mm-hmm.
or what. It doesn't matter. You
Right.
know, that's ego level stuff. What you're experiencing is a certain frequency which you're wanting to explore, and you're wanting to heal. You're needing
Right.
to move through that by understanding that you're a sovereign being, um, that is, you know, eternal. That
Well, it all relates back to cellular memory that I talk about a lot with Master Number 11s, because you guys are older souls. It stands to reason that you've brought more baggage with you, so to speak, you know.
yeah.
So you're going to be more sensitive to that sort of thing. And that's another reason why sound healing is going to be so much more beneficial to them than what it might be for a younger soul, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
So are we ready to do our meditation, or have you anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think you know, people need to, if they've got headphones, it's quite good.
Okay.
Don't have the volume up too much because it is quite they are quite powerful,
Yeah.
the sounds. But the most important thing is to really surrender and let go. So just don't get that mind involved at all. Just put your mind to one side for just 10 minutes, and you can go back and analyze it later. But just for the meditation, just just float.
I'm sitting here just drooling on the screen, you'll wake me up, right? It's all over. It's all good.
I'm going to nip to the loo while you're all meditating.
That's it. That's it. All right. So I'm going to have to, at this point, I believe, you guys are going to have to be patient with me because I've never done this before. So this is going to be quite interesting. All right. We're going to share our screen. There we go. Don't judge me for my messy desk.
So closing your eyes and taking a moment to become still. And focus on your breath as it moves gently in and out of the body, gently expanding the abdomen, lungs and belly. And on the exhale, allowing your muscles to soften and begin to let go of any tension that you're holding in the body. Allowing yourself to slow down and beginning to feel more relaxed, finding your own natural rhythm of breath with no rush, no expectation, and no end goal. Just giving yourself permission to become still and be present in this moment, allowing yourself to become more and more calm and relaxed. And as you relax deeper and your muscles start to soften and surrender, you can become aware of the sounds of the bowls, letting the deep, soft vibration relax you as you allow your body to sink back into the chair. And as the bowl rings out, feel the nurturing resonance moving through you, as if the vibration gently holds and supports you, allowing you to release and let go of anything that no longer serves you, to gently fall away and start to dissipate. Allow the sounds of the bowls to move through your mind, through your emotions, and through your physical body, gently soothing, gently rebalancing you, and helping to slowly bring you back into alignment with your soul's essence. And as you feel more and more calm and relaxed, you feel more aware of your heart center in the middle of your chest. Allow the sounds of the bowls to connect you with that heart center. Breathing in, you feel your heart starting to open and expand with the sounds. Breathing in light, breathing in peace, and allowing yourself to connect with the frequency of unconditional love. This frequency is held within all beings, and we can connect with this frequency anytime that we wish. It does not require outside circumstances or experiences for us to realign with this beautiful natural frequency of love that we hold within us. The frequency of love is a constant light held within the heart center, within each of us, which connects us to our soul, to our own divinity, and to universal life force energy. As you inhale, feel this energy fill your body and expand your soul's light. Gently at first, allowing the light to grow stronger and stronger, allowing the vibrations and the frequencies that you hear to help expand that feeling of love, expand that light within. And smiling down into your heart. Merely the physical act of smiling connects us straight to our heart light and the frequency of love. And just trying it now. Smile down into your heart and allow it to grow and expand inside you. If you're having trouble feeling the connection, then allow a few minutes just to adjust your vibration, continuing to smile deep into your heart with the intention of feeling love and peace. You can think of something that makes you smile or brings you that feeling of happiness. A baby animal, a favourite place in nature, a happy memory of unconditional love that you have felt. And holding that feeling in the body and expanding that frequency with your breath into the heart and allowing yourself to surrender into the feeling of oneness. Allow it to come in its own time, without resistance, without the mind getting too involved. Just stay with the feelings and the vibrations of the sound. The frequency of love is a feeling, it is not a thought. So we can't connect to it through our thoughts. We need to open and expand from the heart. And gradually, this feeling of love expands through your body. You can visualize it as a golden healing light, infusing every cell, every organ, every muscle as it gradually moves up through your neck and into the head, across your shoulders and down into your arms, filling you with light and washing away any worry, any dis-ease, and filling any spaces left with this beautiful sparkling frequency of love, healing you, energizing you, recalibrating you to a higher frequency of universal consciousness. Moving the golden light down through your torso, filling your pelvis with healing, radiant light, moving through your hips and your thighs, illuminating every cell as it goes, washing away anything that does not serve you or belong to you, moving down through the knees and the calves, feeling your muscles soften and relax as this light moves deeper, deeper, deeper down, all the way down to the bottom of your feet. And eventually it feels as if your whole body is now bathed in this beautiful golden light of universal, unconditional love. Just imagine how it would feel to be in oneness, the expansion, the connection to all of the universe. And suddenly you understand that everything is divinely connected. That we are not separate or alone, but divinely perfect and held in everlasting unconditional love. And as this truth resonates deep within your heart, and your soul recognizes this truth, your golden soul's light begins to expand outwards from your physical body. It expands above you and below you, in front of you and behind you, and out to either side of you. Feel that frequency and that light expanding around you, moving out from your physical body, your soul's light, which expands further and further, shining your beautiful light. Perfection, your divinity. And allow this beautiful golden light to connect you down deeper into Mother Earth, feeling the these roots from your physical body, grounding you, nurturing you, reaching down through the soil, through the layers of rock and crystal and quartz, all the way down to the core of Mother Earth. And you bring that energy back up the roots, through the bedrock, through the soil, feeling that connection with Mother Earth, feeling the energy moving between you as you become one. And bringing that combined energy of your soul and Mother Earth back up through your body, through your heart center, and up through your head, and out into the heavens above you, through the clouds, through the atmosphere of Mother Earth, out into space, out into the galaxy and the wider universe, where you blend with the energy of source and universal consciousness, and bring that beautiful light back down through the crown of your head into the heart center, where you become the connection, the bridge between heaven and earth, the bridge between your soul self and your human self, the blend of spirit and matter, the blend of soul and human, the blend of heaven and earth.
So I don't think the sounds translated very well on that.
Actually, I think they did. Unfortunately, there were a couple that somehow managed to get unmuted. And anyway, it's okay. I know how to fix it later, so it's okay.
Okay, so yeah, to me that the sounds just didn't sound right at all. I think it's the Zoom platform. So, but I have uploaded the whole recording to Bandcamp. So if you put the link underneath when you upload the recording, they can go in and listen to it.
Okay.
Without interference.
Perfect. Perfect. But that gave everybody a wonderful mellow experience as to what's involved with sound healing. You know, I could hear drums, I could hear cymbals, I could hear singing bowls, I could hear gongs. I mean, there was just so much in there. It was crazy. Yeah, I'm just coming around. So
I couldn't hear hardly anything from my end, so I don't know whether other people had the same. I think because you were listening to it from your computer, but as it was coming through my computer, it was just all distorted and
no, it was beautiful on my end. It was beautiful. I'm hoping everybody else felt the same. let's open up the videos and see if we can. Oh.
But if it was distorted for other people, if it didn't sound right for other people, then they can go and listen to the Bandcamp link.
Yeah, which we will send out to them, right? I think we got everybody. There we go. And Virginia. Laura may or may not want to start. It's okay. No, somebody was having a good nap.
I could definitely hear a snore. So.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Perfect. So let's, I'm going to sort of go around the group and just see if anybody has any questions. I'm going to start with Abby. Hey, Abby.
Hey.
How are you?
Good, thank you. I don't think I have any questions. I would like to say, though, that, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, good. So I actually teach Qigong. And so there's a lot of similarities in the, just becoming aware of your energetics, right? Within the body and around the body, when Angie was talking about, energy and sound. And actually there are, in Qigong, we use the 6 healing sounds, right? So it's a sound therapy to energize, tone, and cleanse, just like you were talking about earlier with sound, the organs, the meridians, pretty much everything within the body and around the body too, right? And just becoming in touch with, as the meditation hinted on, although it was a little hard to hear at times, but it hinted on us being that connection between the cosmos, the heavens, and the earth. So I just loved it. And I was like, oh my God, I love it. I'm going to use it even more in my practice. So yeah, no, it was great. I really appreciate it. And I know for me, it's been very, very profound practice. So.
Well, I think too, and today I'm just sort of thinking about it because we've never done this before. So I think possibly what we're experiencing is that everybody's on a different bandwidth, right? So there's different, for me, it was perfect. I had no issues whatsoever with the audio, but some of you might. But anyway, we'll give you a link so that you can get to an unobstructed version of this so that you'll be able to listen to it back again and have no noise in the background. So because Angie did a kick-ass job creating that. It was amazing. So seriously.
Absolutely.
So Angie, people can buy your recordings. Where do they go to buy the recordings?
Yeah.
She has various.
You can just go to my website, which is sacredsoundtherapy.com.
Okay.
I've got an MP3 page on there, which will take you to Bandcamp. Yeah, so, and I have to say that it's been my only income since lockdown, because I do group, I do group sound baths, gone baths, and
right.
I can't do that. So I've had to it's pushed me into doing the MP3s, which I've really enjoyed. And some people have been doing online sound baths and gong baths, but Zoom doesn't seem to work because it just distorts the sounds, which is why we decided not to do a live thing tonight. We thought we'd pre-record it, but it certainly didn't come across with my computer.
You must have been having a stroke, because I was just sitting there having a little snooze. It's great for me.
Yours is the original man, so it's coming from your computer, but it's
right.
I think you're hearing what. So yeah, so to me that sounded pretty awful.
It was okay.
It
was okay. Yeah. Well, I have been doing. Sorry, go ahead.
But on Bandcamp, if you log into, if you have an account on Bandcamp, you can listen to any of my recordings 3 times for free. You know,
Mhm.
you don't have to purchase them, and you know, until after the third time of listening. So please do. I've done an extended version of this meditation. So what I did was I've extended another 10 minutes of just gong play, so you can just riff for longer.
Yes, and Angie's also got a really nice YouTube channel too that you can go on to. What do you call the YouTube channel, Angie?
It's just Angie Latham, Sacred Sound
It's
Therapy.
under your name, yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
if you go to my website, then you can get YouTube, Facebook page, everything through the website. So
Okay, and I'll be putting the links up here for you guys too. So yeah, awesome. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, Abby.
Yes, I will be using her gong music in my practice and for my classes. If I get to do it physically again, we'll see.
You will. You will.
I'm also venturing on all this online stuff, so I know all about the sound challenges with Zoom. It just wasn't designed for music, so it's a little tricky. So I do empathize with that. Yeah.
Facebook Live is okay. Facebook Live seems to work if you can do that, but I've got such dreadful signal that I can't do Facebook Live. So
yeah,
it's the it's I could go into pity party about that, but what it is I thought, well, that's the roadblock. So where am I being pushed instead? And where I'm being pushed instead was MP3 recording. So kind of like, oh, that's the river can't go that way. So where does it want to take me? And so that for me, that's what's worked for me. So it's good. It's a good analogy for life, really. If you're coming up against
it's all about flexibility these days.
Being adaptable, resilient, and flexible in the face of change.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, so thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Abby. Ms. Cataldo. Oh, I can't get you unmuted.
There you go. As usual, lots of synchronicities. Nick and I were doing a Dr. Joe meditation before this, and I was telling him that when I meditate, I see Jesus with his heart bright red glowing.
Yeah.
So all we're talking about today was the heart chakra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the right thing. I think this is the best session I've experienced, and on Master 11. I guess it's just because I'm in the right place to hear it.
Timing. Yeah, it's timing.
Thank you very much. We will be listening to your music, and I'm definitely going to explore this tone thing.
Yeah, she is the master. I gotta say, she's great, isn't she? Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Linda. Ben. Oh, you're unmuted. Look at you.
Yeah, that was great.
Enjoy
the
it.
Sound quality I thought was good at first, and then got a little worse. I think it's my bandwidth. But you know what? That is actually the best sound bath I've had too. And I've had like a live sound bath before with somebody who I really admire. I think it's where I was in my process, like awakening. It was really early, and it just didn't have that much to me. But this one, I definitely surrendered more, and I felt it in my heart space. Then it kind of like spreaded out towards my chest a little more.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, there's something about that exercise smiling into your heart. Like there's just something about that. That works really well. Yeah, right?
Yeah. Question, Angie. On YouTube, you mentioned before, like with the 528 hertz, and I listened to that on YouTube. But is that really capture the actual? Is it different because you're listening it online as compared to, you know, if you had a different medium that you're listening to like 528 or something like that?
There are a lot of videos that are on YouTube that say they're 528, but a lot of them are just a kind of music. Whereas I'm just using the pure tone of a bowl or the healing pipe or the tuning fork. So, but I think you resonate with different things on different days, and every time you have a sound bath, you'll have a different experience, because you're always in a different place, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So what might really resonate with you one day might not resonate with you another day, and that's a really good way of tuning in to where am I vibrating, what do I need today? Do I need very earthy grounding tones, or do I want to be more kind of like up, you know, in the higher tones, more heavenly kind of tones? And you know, so you'll get to know what you need vibrationally, to put you back into balance.
It's like, it's divinely perfect healing. Like, it just hit me when you said that. It's like, you know, depending on where you're at, what your experiences are, where you're vibrating at now, each time you hear a sound is going to affect you differently. So it's divinely perfect every time. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, and you'll take what you need. And
right.
Again, the mind doesn't have to get involved. It's just working energetically. Actually, sometimes the sounds that you really don't like are the sounds that you really need, because it's breaking up something that's stuck in your energy field. So if you've got stuck trauma, emotions, then, you know, some people really don't like the gong. It can be a bit Marmite, you know. Some people love it, some people hate it. The people who tend not to like it are the people that are really needing to shift something really deep, because the gongs really get in there, and they really kind of like, if there's anything stuck in your energy field, then the gongs are going to shift it. And if you're not, you're the sort of person that's been completely suppressing and denying, releasing, you know, trapped emotion, trauma, bad memories, whatever, then that can be quite, you know, it can surface, and people can have a you know, quite you know, dramatic response to the first sound bath. If they've had a lot of stuff that they didn't even know was there, it can all come up, and it's like, oh my God, I'm crying uncontrollably and I don't know why, you know. So yeah.
Get in the car, honey. We're going to go get a gong. Get going. I think it'd be fun.
Can I ask you a question about the gong? Do you need like is there like a skill, like you have to hit it a certain way, or even like with crystal healing bowls, like do you have to be like, I'm like no musician at all, you know, like how much talent or skill does that affect like how good the sound comes out?
I'd say that it's completely intuitive. So the more you feel in tune with the instrument, the better it'll sound. So I heard a musician talking about, who was also a sound healer, and it was great what he said, because he said, when you're a musician, you pick up an instrument and you tell the instrument what to do, you play the instrument. When you're a sound healer, the instrument plays you. So it's like you're kind of like opening yourself up to your higher self and your guides and universal consciousness, and you're allowing that to come through and play the gong, you know. So you'll intuitively know where to hit it, how hard to hit it. And one of the things that I've found most fascinating, and it took me a while to work this out, is that because I do group gong baths, sometimes the gong would sound really amazing, and then other times it would sound a bit off, a bit sort of like a bit weird, like it didn't want to play. And it was only when I did I went to a healing fair where I did one-to-one healings, and I did 8 in a row. So the gongs were in the same place. It was just one person coming in, one after the other. And the gong sounded so different for some people than it did with other people. And because I knew that the environment was exactly the same, the gongs were exactly the same, nothing was changing apart from the person that was coming in. So I realized that everybody's energy, everybody's unique frequency has an effect on how the gong sounds. So what a group emits energetically will have a direct effect on how the instrument will you. There was one lady where the gong just would not sing. It just sounded awful, and I had to stop playing it. I went on to do the crystal bowls instead, and afterwards she said, oh, I'm so glad you went on to the crystal bowls, because the gong is just not my thing. I just don't feel comfortable with it. So the gong knew that, you know, and energetically it just wasn't playing. So So yeah, it's whatever you resonate with, and if you resonate with your instrument, then you will know how to play it. So I'm not a musician at all. I'm not musical. I just play completely from intuition and from feeling what feels right. Yeah.
So wouldn't you agree then, Angie, that it's about kind of getting out of your own way and allowing the music the sound to move through you without judgment, just allow it to happen intuitively?
Again, getting that left side of the brain, that
Right.
analytical, oh, it should be this mallet and that type of gong, and that, it's just I've come across, a few gong players who have the biggest, amazing gongs and the biggest mallets, and it's, size isn't everything, and quantity is quality, and yet some people have quite a small, cheap gong, because they are, and play it absolutely beautifully, because they are just allowing, something else to come through. They're tapped into something else, and just like a painting, if the best paintings are done from people who are just allowing that creative to, if you start analysing, thinking, oh, I should put that there and I should put this colour here, then it kind of stunts things, and it doesn't look as good. And I'm a photographer as well, as you said, and I've noticed that in the photography world as well. People can have the best equipment, the best camera, the best editing thing. They can have a brilliant picture, but something will be missing.
Yes, in the message.
Yeah, so somebody could go out with a cheaper camera, but really be in touch with the landscape and what they're, and really resonating with the landscape they're in. They'll take a beautiful picture. There'll be something about it, even though it might not be technically perfect on a photographic level, that speak, so the energy will come through it. So it's the same with anything and everything. And I think, just quickly, I think it's a really important lesson about how unique we all are. So we've all got our unique energy, we've all got our unique talents. So it doesn't matter whether I'm a sound healer, I've got another sound healer there and another sound healer there. It doesn't matter, because we all vibrate differently, and we will all attract different people. So somebody that prefers me might not prefer somebody else, or they might not resonate with me, so they go to another sound healer who they do resonate. So I think part of our whole planetary lesson really at the moment is letting go of competition, and this idea of competition and lack, and there's only so much to go around. Every single one of us has got a unique DNA, we've got a unique fingerprint, we've got a unique vibration to our voice, and we've got a unique energy that we give out. So the more we can just be ourselves in all of our our messiness and the more we're being of service to others, because there's somebody out there that needs what you can give, and it might not be the same as what somebody out, there's people that I look to and I think, oh my God, I'll never be as amazing as them. But what I've learned is that I only have to be of service to the people that are being drawn to me, and I had this wonderful vision that my guides gave to me when coronavirus started, because I felt like I wasn't helping enough. I felt like I wasn't being of service enough in a time where everybody was in fear and anxiety. And what my guide showed me was that we're kind of like a chain of light. Those kind of like, when somebody's kind of stuck in the mud and you make a human chain, and you kind of like, the chain goes down to the person in the mud and you kind of drag them out. And that's what they were showing me, that it doesn't matter that there's somebody I admire and would like to be able to be or teach like. It doesn't matter, because that's who's holding my hand. I'm holding their hand, and then I can reach down to somebody who needs to experience what I can teach and what in my own way, because they're not ready for that teacher yet. So we've all got our own unique link in the chain. So it's not a case of being better than, worse than, it's just a matter of being yourself completely, and people will be, the right people will be drawn to you.
I couldn't agree with you more. Are you good, Ben?
Yeah, awesome.
Perfect.
I feel like that's a perfect answer.
Awesome. Thank you. We're going to move on to Mark.
There we
There you
go.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So I'm looking forward to hearing that again because my sound was a little wonky as
Was it?
well. Yeah. So I have two questions. First one is, so I've seen metal singing bowls, crystal singing bowls, pros, cons, or just different. So that's the first one. And then the second one is, how do you even become a sound healer? What did you do?
Okay. But the first answer is easy. They're just different.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just different. Whatever you resonate with, I use them all. And I find on different days, I prefer Tibetan bowls, and then on other days I prefer the crystal bowls. So again, it's where you're resonating and what you need. So yeah, there's and we don't have to get into kind of like the the expense of everything.
I've looked. They're not cheap. Yeah, I've looked.
But yeah, it's like I was saying about the camera. You can have a really expensive camera. It's what you do with it. So it's
Yep.
your hands and how you resonate with something. Yeah. So, but be warned, if you start on the singing bowl, one is never enough.
Yeah, one is never enough. Yeah. Judging by your living room, I'm going to say that she's speaking from experience. Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, so becoming a sound healer. So there are courses. I trained with the Sound Healing Academy International, which is based in Cornwall in UK, but they've got teachers all around the world, in the US, in Australia, in Ireland, but they do online course as well. So there's an awful lot you can learn online. I went. Sorry, go.
I was just saying, maybe you could send me the link to the school.
Yeah, I think that's on my website as well.
Is it? Okay.
I think so, but if it's not, it's Sound Healing Academy International. But there's the British School of Sound Healing. There's quite a few about. It's not cheap, but the Sound Healing Academy, they do a kind of a level 1 course, which is quite affordable. Which just teaches you the basics, and it teaches you enough to be able to use sound on yourself and your friends and family. So, and that's pretty affordable. That's really worth doing because it's got a lot of information about sound and vibration, and also the science of it. I'm not very good at retaining scientific information. I'm far too touchy-feely. So if you were hoping to know about all the scientific ins and outs of sound, that you weren't going to get it from me. Sorry. I'm just the energy girl. So yeah, have a look on that, and I'll give you the link, and if you want to post that for people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sounds good. I will, if you just email it to me, I will send it out and put it in the Master Number 11 group too, the Facebook.
So to become a practitioner, I had to go on to the level 2, and that was expensive, and it took me. They give you a year to do it. I think I actually kind of fast tracked because it was almost like I was just remembering everything that I already knew. And
that's probably true. You just come back to what you already knew. Yeah, that's what draws us into it the next time.
Yeah, I got showed past lives where I've been working with sound in Egypt, Tibet, India, which didn't bring. I didn't know that until I started working with sound. It was like working with sound triggered the recall. So again, that's the way it works with me. I have to experience something first, and then I'll get the explanation why afterwards. And Spirit does that to me because they know that I will just dismiss it as I'm making it up. It's just me making it up. So that's how they work with me, so that I can't just go Yeah. I get it. Okay, I'm listening.
Are you good, Mark?
I'm good, thanks.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to talk to Adele. I can get you unmuted here. There we go. Hey, how are you? You look very comfortable.
Hi. Yeah, sorry, I'm in Australia, so I have a completely different time difference.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Any questions at all?
Yeah, so like it was really lovely for me this session, because I know that I'm meant to be a sound healer as well. Like I've loved sound for the last couple of years, and I always used to go to sound healing sessions, and then I was just intuitively called to like buy a set of 7 of the really big crystal chakra healing bowls that are like yeah, just they're really crystal and beautiful, and they're huge, and I just love them. They just yeah, I've got one like that as well. Yeah, I've got all 7 of them, and yeah, I love them. And I've had past lives as well, where like I know during a sound healing session I've really gone back to like Atlantis and places where I know I was a priestess and sound healer, and I love it. And I really want to get back into it. And yeah, I just feel like maybe I could ask you a bit about like processes, and just wondering if you guys have sort of been through this in part of your process. But it's like I very much know that I'm on from a lot of the wisdom I get, like I know that I'm on a healing path and a healing journey, and I am one day gonna get past my trauma and, you know, help others through my own journey. It's very clear to me with all the guidance I get and all the past life experiences I've had that this is something I'm meant to do. But I just feel like I just get stuck in these absolute like ruts, like I'm sort of in one now. And like when I hear the advice that people say, like I know you said before, like snap the wrist or change the thoughts or be really mindful where your energy and attention's going, like I just feel, I don't know if it's part of the empath thing, but like I just feel totally overwhelmed. And like when I'm in these immense emotional turmoils, like it's really hard to just do anything or like use the strategies. Like I have like hundreds of crystals, so many oracle cards, I've done so many meditation courses, I have these sound bowls, but I just don't really do anything. And then sometimes I think like, oh gosh, you know, my path is meant to be helping people to overcome this, and here I am just in the middle of it feeling like I have no idea how to get myself out of this emotional turmoil and these just repetitive thoughts and just this sadness. Sometimes I just feel like a big fraud. Like I just feel like I know that I'm not at the end of the thing where I'm sort of helping others. I'm just in the middle of it, and I just don't know what to do, really.
Well, the good news is you're completely normal.
Yeah.
And I get it myself. We're all the same. Nobody is completely healed, and nobody is completely you know, on top of it. We have phases where we feel like we are, and then it's like I was saying earlier about you surfing the wave and you're thinking, I've got it now. I've gone through all my trauma and I'm all healed, and here I am, and then wipe out. You know, what I've learned is that, you know, we're so used to looking at things in a linear way, because that's how our human mind works, is that, you know, there's the past, the present and the future, and it's like it's a path that you just go in a straight line, and it's not really, it's a spiral. And so you're kind of like going to go round to the same lessons, the same issues again and again and again, but the more you work through it, the higher you get, so that when you come round again, then that trigger isn't so bad, and you kind of like, oh, I know how I got past this the last time, so I'm going to utilize those tools and things that I learned and see whether I can kind of push through it again. And you will, and you'll kind of like, you'll go further up. So it is like a kind of an upward spiral, and sometimes it can be a bit snake and ladders, so you might feel like
Yeah.
you'll only go so far before you kind of like you're able to sort of get yourself out of it. So again, I would say that it's more of a ego mind thing. You need to heart center. So
yeah, that's what I'm just finding so hard. But then it's like I do have the F bowl, and it's just in a box. It's just
get it out. Get it out. you've got a garden, go and sit in the garden with that F bowl and just play it. And don't get the mind involved thinking, right, I'm waiting for the answer, or this will make it clear or anything. Just focus on the sound and the frequency and how it makes you feel in the heart center. So not the emotions which come from the head, but from that that connection to the frequency of the heart, which we've all got. We're born with it as part of soul, God, divinity. We've all got it in us. It's a vibration. It's a frequency that's all always there. So when we're heart centered, we open up our energetic field to about 6 feet wide, and that allows more light to come in, more consciousness to come in. It is more of a clear channel for our guides, for our higher self. I don't actually like the term higher self because it gives the impression that it's somewhere up there that you've got to connect to. I prefer inner self because that's really where it is. It's in your heart center. That's where all of your knowledge and wisdom is. So yeah. So when we're heart centered, we allow that energy field to go out, and we're in that data tube of light, really. When we're too much in the mind, we get the limiting beliefs, we get the society programmings, that you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not clever enough, all that kind of thing. And that tube kind of like shrinks down. When we're in fear, it's like a tap that's dripping. The information can still get through, but it's very, very slow. So putting yourself back into the
heart. It's a good analogy.
Just will open you back up, and just be in that. Just learn to be. And I went through this very much so at the beginning of coronavirus. I wasn't allowing myself to just be. I was trying to do too much. And human beings are real doers. We're programmed to do and to be productive, and we don't allow ourselves just to be and to process as well. So if you're feeling sad, just allow yourself to feel sad.
Give yourself permission.
Yeah, give yourself permission. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't try and push through it. The more you recognize it, you allow it, you acknowledge it, the quicker it will burn off and through you. It's when we try and sort of resist it and suppress it down that it becomes a problem, because it's not going to go away. It's going to stay in your energy field then.
I think the other thing too, Angie, is that we need to accept that we're perfect right in the moment. We know what we need to know. We have what we need to have. That everything is divine perfection. That projecting into the, saying that I'm not enough, or I'm, I just don't do well enough, or I don't apply myself enough. The word enough should be abolished, because we are enough. We're exactly enough right now in the moment. We know exactly what we need to know. And if we can accept that, then we'll never judge ourselves as being anything lesser than divine perfection.
Yeah.
So. And
when we're triggered and when emotions do come up, it's a really good time to think, where is that coming from? It's not a childhood thing. Where have I picked up that limited belief from?
Who planted the seed?
It was my parents saying money doesn't grow on trees, you got to get a proper job, that sort of thing. I would never have believed that I could make a living by playing sounds.
Yeah.
My linear logical mind would never have accepted that.
Okay, are you good, Adele? You good? Thank you.
Can I
Oops, sorry. Sorry, one sec.
So with both of you, when what you said about give yourself permission to feel, and like if you allow yourself to feel sad, but like, do you guys ever find that it's just overwhelming? Because I feel like some people, I don't know if this is the empath as well, but people perceive my sadness to be dangerous. Like every time I actually allow myself to feel, I will like lose my houses because my flatmates just say, oh, this is too much. This is like hysterical. If I'm angry, I'm really, really angry. If I'm sad, I'm like, people have never seen anything like it sad. So I'm almost scared to like actually feel, because every time I feel, there's really sort of quite negative repercussions about it. It's almost like, do we have amplified sort of emotions? perhaps. I don't know.
As 11s, I think we probably do, and I think 11s affect the people around them more with our energy, because we've got very strong energy and strong auras. But yeah, it's a hard one, really. It's been a long time since I lived with anybody other than my husband.
Well,
he's very patient.
I think one of the things that you can help yourself with that, Adele, is something that I've worked with, because for a long time I have a lot of 6 energy in my chart, Linda. Lots of 6 energy, yeah. So she knows all about it. Many of you do, actually, knowing your charts as I do. Many of us have 6 energy in our chart. So that makes us feel like we're responsible for everything. And part of that responsibility includes not rocking the boat, always doing the right thing, you know, don't upset anybody, always be, you know, the good girl, and, you know, don't be the shit disturber, and, you know, that kind of thing. And really, what has helped me is to recognize that I'm always in control of how I feel, always, without question. I have come to understand and learn that my environment, my history, what people have done to me, what people have said to me, none of that can make me feel anything unless I choose to feel it. So when I get angry, I will say, right now, I am choosing to be angry. And I'm not saying that's not an okay emotion. I'm just saying that it's not okay to say, this makes me angry, or that makes me angry, or that person made me angry. No, that doesn't work. You chose to be angry. You chose to be depressed. You chose to be happy. You chose whatever, right? So once we understand that we are completely in control of our emotions, then we're no longer victims, and we don't fear sharing our emotions. Hopefully that makes sense. But it sure made a big difference for me, being able to say, you know, I started with my ex-husband. You know, I used to get really angry with him, and, you know, you make me feel this, you make me feel that. And then I realized, no, it's really not about what he does to me. It's how I'm choosing to respond. And that's the first step to taking back your power, is understanding that none of this is happening to you. It's happening through you, and you get to choose how you respond. And I'm not going to judge you for your choice, but if you can say, I'm choosing to feel negative emotion, you can also choose when to stop that negative emotion and pop in a positive one. So hopefully that helps. I know it sounds easier. I make it sound easier than it is, but it is that simple. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it is that simple. Yeah.
I think just learning to tune in to yourself, so that you know what you need when you feel that emotion. So if you're feeling sad, what do you need to do to help move that through your body?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe going to your flatmates and bursting into tears isn't the best way to do it, but maybe going off, you know, taking yourself off, sitting by a river and being by moving water and having a good cry on your own, maybe. You know, so it's kind of but what I would say about 11s, and it's definitely true for me, is that we do tend to catalyze other people. So we tend to be a mirror for people. So I spent a long time kind of beating myself up, because it seemed that just my very presence in a group of people used to bring up everybody's stuff. And I used to think that it must be me. I must be doing something wrong. I must be not friendly enough or open enough or whatever. But what I realized was that just our presence, our energetic presence, it challenges other people to raise their vibration,
Mm-hmm.
and to move through their stuff.
So true.
And if they're not ready to move through their stuff, then it's very easy to just project it back onto you. It's like, oh, well, it's Angie, you know, she's just like rocking the boat, or she's just this or that or the other, when really it's kind of, you know, it's their stuff that they need to deal with, but it's easier to project it and blame it on you as you know, as the person that's energetically triggering them. I found a lot that people used to come for me for advice. I used to give them advice, and then they didn't used to follow the advice. So they were still stuck, but then used to blame me because, you know, because I gave them the advice even though they didn't like take it. So, you know,
Oh yeah.
I
was murdered in a previous lifetime for that.
so I think that's important to mention for 11s, that our energy is catalytic, whether we understand that that's what we're doing or not. And it's another good reason to get ourselves in balance, to get our own house in order, because when we're more balanced, we can observe what's happening around us rather than being triggered and react to it.
Okay. So are we good, Adele?
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Good to see you. Okay, Pamela. Down in my bottom left-hand corner. There she is. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
It was really good.
Did you have a little nap?
No.
So any questions for Angie?
No questions for Angie.
No?
I dabbled in playing crystal bowls in my lifetime. And I love them.
Yeah. They just resonate so well.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're able to make it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's Ms. Badger. I'm going to unmute her if I can. There we go.
Hi.
Hey.
I just feel so peaceful and energized at the same time.
Awesome. So obviously that really resonated well for you then.
It did. It was beautiful, and thank you.
Isn't she great?
She is.
Denise and I go way back, and we've just sort of rekindled our relationship after 30 years or something.
Yeah.
And
well, how old are our kids? 28 years.
And let's not. So yeah, exactly.
We were both with child.
Yeah. So a lot of the sound therapy we were doing years ago was tinging wine glasses.
Yes.
Crystal wine glasses, and they sounded really pretty.
They did.
I know. Anyway, I'm so glad you were able to make it.
You know what? It was awesome, and thank you. It just peacefulness and energized. I feel energized. I was tired because I went for a big walk today.
Yeah.
I came back, I was tired, and I thought, oh, I'll just sign on quick, and that energized me.
And you were wearing your heart necklace too.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah, cool.
I got that today.
Oh, did you really? That's perfect. Yeah. Timing's everything. Okay. Well, good to see you, hon.
Yes, you too.
That is how I got into sound healing in the first place. So with ME and chronic fatigue, I was just completely, on the floor energetically all the time, and the brain fog as well. It was like having a really bad hangover all the time. Couldn't think straight, and I found that going to Gong baths, the brain fog would go. I'd feel really clear and energized, but like I said, completely relaxed at the same time. So it was really good for all levels, for fatigue and the reason why it energizes is because you are you're completing the circuit between your higher self and earth. So you're you're earthing yourself, or you're plugging yourself in to the energy of the earth that's always available to us.
I've got my feet on my earthing mat. Yep, I'm always plugged in.
Walking, talking computers, we're energetic and we're organic, and we need both heaven and earth. We need to be the bridge between the both for that energy to go down and to come up again in that continuous cycle.
So it's time for the draw. Angie, do you want to explain what the prize is? Because you're much better at explaining this than I am, and it's so cool.
Okay, so whoever wins, I'm gonna do your own personal MP3 sound healing recording, I'll tune in to your guides if you give your permission for your guides to kind of like talk to my guides, and then I'll kind of yeah, I'll do a sound healing recording for you. Yeah, so it'd just be sound. So it won't be the voice. It'll just be the sounds.
But that is pretty unique and pretty special. And Angie is extremely empathic. She has no trouble whatsoever in tuning into you. So especially now that you've attended, and she had a chance to get to know you a little bit as well. So so we're just going to ask Great Spirit to preside over this, and whomever is the one that Great Spirit feels is the most in need of this amazing gift, we're asking Great Spirit to help us to choose that person. So Angie, I need you to pick a number between 1 and 11.
Oh, let's go for 9.
Bin, you're the winner. Yeah. Hang on.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is amazing. Oh, you are so lucky.
I don't know why. But I was like, I feel like I'm winning this, and I never feel that way. I don't win raffles ever.
You gotta go out and get your lottery ticket too, then.
Wow.
Well, congratulations.
Cool.
Yeah,
so
happy
cool.
for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you, Angie and Anne.
And that's fantastic, because your wife's really interested in sound healing too. So I'm glad that that'll work out well for you. That's amazing.
And Angie, you have full permission from my guys, and I'll ask my guys to talk to your guys.
They're obviously already talking.
I know one of my guys is Kuan Yin, so I'll do some meditation. But
so Ben, what I'll do, I'll connect you guys through email so that you'll know how to connect each other. So
okay,
I'll get in touch with you after the group. So congratulations. Awesome. So Angie, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, website.
Okay.
Website. So I've got a Facebook page as well. So Sacred Earth Sound Therapy on Facebook. I don't really do Instagram. That's a bit too like mobile-y for me.
Yeah, I don't even understand it. I got hacked on Instagram once. I'm like, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I got hacked on Pinterest this morning. I mean, what up with that? Seriously.
So the website is the portal, really, because that will show you the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, and it's got lots of information as well on there, and some videos and stuff as well. And yeah, if you were really
some great videos.
If you were really hoping that you were going to get you were going to win the draw, then there's so many lovely sound recordings that I've done on the MP, on Bandcamp, and they're only I don't know what dollars, but it's £6, so I think that's about $8 each. So they're not really expensive.
Yeah.
I've kept them reasonable, and also they're usually about 20 minutes long. So you don't have to kind of like take an hour out of your day.
And the thing you got to know about this too, guys, is that the sound quality, Angie takes this really seriously, and she's got the right equipment and whatnot. The sound quality, if you're buying something off Bandcamp for $8 or whatever it is 110% better than what you're ever going to hear off of YouTube. So if you really want the benefit, and you really want the sound, and you really want the experience, and you really want the healing, you really want the recording. So that's I know that from experience.
I'm a Virgo.
Yeah. Perfection.
I'm a Virgo 11. It's gonna have to be.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Anything else you want to add, Angie?
I don't think so. It's just been really great. It's been really out of my comfort zone. So thank you.
You did amazingly well. You really did. Yeah.
And, I just want to personally thank you as well, Anne, for all the work and dedication you have for helping us 11s, because we really do need it.
Well, I'm glad to have you in my camp. So you're a wealth of information and a great support. So
you were really instrumental in helping me get a handle on who I was, what my energy was all about, and how I can, being a 2911, that's very specific set of
yes.
Yes. So that as well, it's like you're not just an 11, are you? You're 29 or you're 38 or whatever, and it's really important to know those other vibrations that make up your 11-ness.
Yeah, your sub lessons are so important. You
and
really
I think,
are. And you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing, so that's perfect.
Don't, you know, I suppose my message to all 11s is don't sweat it. You know, you will do whatever you're meant to be doing at the right time. And it might be age 18, it might be age 78. It doesn't matter. It'll be the right time for you. And also don't get stuck up on this big mission thing. You know, I think that can trip a lot of 11s up. Sometimes the people that have the most influence on the people around them is just the mother, you know, or the person that can bake the best muffins in I mean, never underestimate the joy, the spreading of joy a good muffin can have, you know. So it's all about vibration and what vibration you're giving.
Moment. Be present in the moment. You are perfect as you are in this moment. Never forget that. Yeah. Angie, thank you. Thank you so much. I know, wait until you see the handouts that she has created. Yes, group hug. Everybody's going to group hug. Come on, Mark, group hug. You got it.
I can only see 3 people.
I always feel like Miss Sarah from Romper Bomper Stomper Doo, you know, like the romper room. I see you. You can't hide from me. Anyway, I'm dating myself now. But no, I really want to say thank you. Angie has gone to great lengths, not only to create this event, the recording that you'll get later, but also the fact that she's created handouts like her crazy. Her handouts are amazing, really beautiful handouts. So you'll be able to tap into those too. They'll all be posted in the on the Master Number 11 site, of course, and underneath the video. I'll get that out in the next day or two. Yeah, but you just keep doing what you're doing, Angie. You were such a breath of fresh air and such a wealth of information, and I'm just so grateful that you said yes, that you would come and play with us. So thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to bid you good night. But thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe, stay well. Just be happy. Be happy with who you are, because you're all amazing, really amazing. And I feel so grateful to know each and every one of you. So go on and keep shining that bright light of yours.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys. Love you all.